It is the most exclusive club on the planet, open only to the leaders of the world's richest nations. But one question has hung over the still and beautiful waters of Lough Erne. Has the G8 the will, the power to stop the latest conflict to ravage the Middle East? The public smiles belie the private disagreements. Russia's often grim-faced President Putin has resisted pressure from his fellow leaders. They wanted him to sign up to a statement that made clear that Syria's future cannot involve President Assad. He refused. The Prime Minister insisted, though, that all the G8's leaders wanted this message to be heard by those considering abandoning the Assad regime.
What is important is to send a very clear signal to the Syrian people that we know Syria needs a functioning government, it needs functioning departments, it needs a functioning military, a functioning police force. It needs those things after Assad has gone. You can't imagine a Syria where this man continues to rule, having done such dreadful things to his people. But these people who also want stability, they should know that that is what the international community has agreed.
That was not spelt out in the G8 communique. So what exactly did the leaders agree on how to handle Syria and President Assad? The leaders say they'll work together to stop the bloodshed in Syria. They'll push for fresh peace talks to be held in Geneva as soon as possible and commit to destroying and expelling Al-Qaeda's supporters. What they've not agreed on is the supply of weapons, and crucially, they've not agreed on the future of President Assad. President Putin has signed up to very similar language in the past, but he's never spoken out against arming Syria's rebels in a way designed to be more provocative than this.
Recently, the British people suffered a huge loss. It was a tragedy. Next to his barracks on the streets of London, a British serviceman was violently assassinated. Clearly, the Syrian opposition is not entirely composed of people like this, but many of them are exactly the same as the ones who perpetrated the killing in London.
What was not heard here is any detail of how and when President Obama will carry out America's promise to give military support to the opposition. His only words on the subject came in an interview recorded before he left home.
There are folks who say, we are so scarred from Iraq, we should have learned our lesson, we should not have anything to do with it. Well, I reject that view as well, because the fact of the matter is that we've got serious interest there.
To those who feared that we were on the brink of another superpower proxy war in the Middle East, agreement here, any agreement, will be welcome. Britain and America have toned down their rhetoric about arming the rebels. Russia, they hope, is ready to see the back of President Assad. The only question is anyone in Syria actually listening? As the G8 leaders flew away from yet another summit, the question remained unanswered. Will words be turned into actions? Nick Robinson, BBC News, Lough Erne.